Good morning. Hello. Hillary, of course. Hi, guys. My name is Catherine Schwarzenegger Pratt. I am coming on here on Arey to have a fun conversation with my mom, Maria Shriver. And I'm so excited. I was going to do a bunch of live events with Arey, but because of the current situation, we're moving them to being online. And also, I think might be my mom's first time requesting another Instagram live, so just going to be patient with her. But basically, I haven't seen my mom a ton since this whole quarantine situation because we're all staying in our own homes. So we're going to talk about how we're staying connected. I am very close with my family. Some of you might know. I am wearing someone's favorite Arey sweater, so that's good. Hi, Mom. So my brother Patrick is at my mom's house and they are quarantined together along with my brother Patrick's amazing girlfriend Abby. And I am here at my house with with my husband and then my sister is just down the street, and then my other baby brother is in Michigan. So Mom, you have to request to be a part of this conversation. So we're just going to, I think hopefully Patrick helped her. I was tearing. I think it's going to work right now. Technology. Yes, for all of you asking, this sweater is Arey.
Hi.
Mom!
We did request. I was teaching her.
Patrick did it. He was teaching me, but he didn't teach me. He just pressed the button so fast, so I couldn't follow. But good morning.
Good morning. Thank God Patrick is there.
Yes, thank God, or I would not be joining you. But I'm so happy to be seeing you first thing on this beautiful Saturday morning, because as you said, we've been separated. And happy to be here on the Arey site because, like you, I believe in their mission.
Yes. And you came to the event that we did before all this quarantine happened. We did a really fun event with Arey in New York City. Actually,
yeah.
So you came to that event. Did Patrick disappear? I kind of saw his reflection.
Yeah, he disappeared. I think he thought this was a woman's conversation.
Yeah, you came to the event that we did with Arey in, where are my eyes tearing, in Brooklyn. So it's nice that we're all back together because it was a really moving conversation that we had there that you and I talked about for a really long time after that we did it with Iskra and Jess, but it was a full day of really inspiring and moving stories from women of all shapes, sizes, backgrounds, walks of life. And that's why I think it's nice that we're on the Arey account having this conversation, because it's definitely goes along with what both you and I stand for and believe in.
Well, I really enjoyed going to the Arey event. I thought Jess did a great job moderating the panel on forgiveness. And I thought Iskra's story on self-forgiveness in your book, The Gift of Forgiveness, was really inspiring to me. And I thought the questions that came from the crowd were terrific. And I was especially moved by a woman at the end who stood up and said that she was 50 years old, going through a divorce, a mom, and she thanked Iskra for her kind of body positivity, which I know Arey's all about, and saying that her life would have been so different had that been the case when she was a young girl. You know, going to her prom, she might have gone to her prom. She might have done so many different things. So I think kind of having a company like Arey, having you being out there talking about self-forgiveness, having Iskra out there, having Jess out there, having so many, Allie Reisman, who I interviewed on the Today Show, who's also a spokesperson for this company. Having these young girls out there talking about their struggles, about body positivity, about real life issues changes the way your generation will deal with real life issues compared to my generation, which dealt with it alone, thought we were the only person struggling with our weight, thought we were the only person who might be struggling with anxiety, thought, you know, all of these things. So I think it's so great that these kinds of conversations are going on.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think also, especially in a time where people are obviously feeling very lonely anyway right now. I think the world in general can be a lonely place when you're going through something challenging. And right now, especially, I think there are a lot of people in this area community and also just in general who are feeling really lonely. You and I were talking yesterday about a friend.
David Phoenix is our friend who lives alone just so I wanted to say that because he lives alone. A lot of people live alone and are alone, as you were saying.
Yeah, so and I were talking because I think that this is something that a lot of people are struggling with and also curious about because, you know, our family is obviously super close. We do a lot together pretty much every single day and at least several times a week. And we also have a really close knit group of friends that we treat like family that we do a lot with. And since we're all separated, we're all kind of figuring out and navigating how we're staying connected and together and making sure that we're checking in on everybody and that everyone feels supported and taken care of and loved and paid attention to. And I think with family, it's one thing, but with friends, you and I were talking yesterday about, because I had received a text from one of my close friends who told me, I woke up to a text from her and she said that she was really lonely and feeling really just alone and sad in this whole experience of quarantine and didn't really have a big support system, and how important it would be to her if I would make time to do a FaceTime call that day because, you know, and I think that you have some friends who you've been really on top of checking on, but I think it's a good conversation to have about how we can support people who we would normally be seeing all the time, who we're not able to see right now.
Well, I think that's, first of all, shout out to Steve Jobs, who made what we're doing right now possible. So I've been thinking a lot about that. I think FaceTime, of course, changes how we connect so people can see another person. So doing FaceTime, having a routine, I think is really important at times like this. I've been doing these Instagram lives every day, and everybody I speak to, whether they're in professional sports, whether they're small business owners, they all talk about the importance of setting a routine and trying to keep to it. Having dates on FaceTime with people, setting them up ahead of time. So, you know, at 5 o'clock, let's all, you know, connect through FaceTime. Let me call you, or I might go out for a walk. Let me call you and connect with you. I think a lot of us have a lot of time on our hands right now, so it's a good time to check in on somebody. It's also a good time to read your book and think about who you might have an issue with that you might want to write a note to, send positive vibes to, think about your own forgiveness journey with somebody. I think we can look at these times. I mean, for many people, millions of people, they're looking at unemployment, they're looking at food insecurity, they're looking at job insecurity. And so they might say, like, I can't even concentrate on that. And the old Adam there is take 5 minutes, try to focus on 10 minutes, try to focus on 1 hour. And that helps you get through your day. And I think having people give, you know, tools and tips about how to manage through your fear, your insecurity, in these times is super important. And there's a lot of really great conversations going on Instagram, I might add.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're doing amazing conversations on Instagram. I think a lot of people are moving to getting really creative with if they have like a book that came out or if they have something that they want to be talking about. Like, I think one of the things when I was kind of first deciding that we were going to be moving a lot of my book activities to being online. And I was kind of like, oh my God, I don't know how to deal with this. And it was scary because I just didn't know what we were going to do. And you quickly explained to me that like everyone is in the exact same boat. And that made me feel so much better because we're all equally scared about what this whole experience is going to do to our society. Some can be optimistic, of course, at times, but also just like, how long is this going to last? When are we going to be able to see our loved ones again? When is life going to go back to normal? So also keeping in mind, which you told me really helped me, which was like, everyone is feeling this exact same way. We're all in this together. And how can we, in the meantime, continue to support each other and connect with one another to make sure that, you know, people are doing okay, that we make sure we let people know that we're there for them in this time, and just taking an effort. And I was talking to one of my friends the other day who said that this is the first time that she's able to pick up the phone and call people that she hasn't talked to in years, because we live in just like such a fast-paced society that I know that you still pick up the phone and talk to people on the phone. We do a lot of FaceTime in our family, but we don't really today, you know, pick up the phone and actually spend time calling someone. So how meaningful that is to a lot of people who are also sitting at home by themselves in this quarantine.
Yeah, I think, as you said, I think there are tips and tools that are out there to help people connect, pick up the phone, send a text. But I'm also very cognizant that there are people who've had to close businesses, who have no money coming in, who are trying to manage applying for unemployment, who have kids to feed, who have kids at home, and they're trying to teach their kids and put food on the table and apply for unemployment, and. So I think it's a moment to also, you know, take a deep breath. Mm-hmm. I'm very cognizant of my neighbors, trying to support those who are caregiving and those who are working in hospitals. So, you know, those who have the ability to donate food or donate resources, I think are stepping up and doing a great job. And we could all always do more. I think never underestimate, though, the power of a small act, what you might perceive to be a small act. Yet the other day, friend dropped off a lot of fresh fruit at my door that she had grown on her farm. I then took it down the street and passed it out to some of the elderly neighbors. I think checking in on our pastor, who serves a lot of, you know, people who are struggling, giving him money to continue his work, reaching out to our hospitals. I think all of us can do something. Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, had a great speech yesterday. I put it up on my Instagram because he said, this is a moment for all of us. Mm-hmm. This is a moment that we'll tell our grandchildren about, you'll tell your children about, you'll tell your siblings about. And each of us will ask ourselves, how did we manage this moment? How did we step up in this moment? How was our character forged in this moment? And I think that that's a really good question to ask ourselves, is what does this moment mean to me? And was this the moment that I picked up the phone? Was this the moment that I wrote that letter? Was this the moment that I dropped off 5 oranges? Never think that something's too small for this moment, because this is the moment.
Love it. Love it. I think a lot of people also feel like, you know, we're in our homes and a little bit of helplessness. Like I've felt that a lot this week, and I'm trying to I was talking to you and Patrick last night because I'm trying to reach out to a lot of local businesses to see how we can support. We have a lot of friends that are friends of our family who have, you know, small businesses around our neighborhood. We have people who have restaurants, bakeries, just trying to find ways to support and you know, instead of, we also have people who in our lives who have flower shops, and that's a big thing that's, you know, completely halted right now because no one's allowed to do that. So I think also finding ways to be able to help yourself in that helpless time. Like how can we all do, as you're saying, these small acts that don't involve, you know, necessarily going over to knock on someone's door because you don't know if you're sick or if the other person's sick. So and one of the things that Patrick was saying last night on the phone was we can buy gift cards for a lot of these places because they can use that money right away and we can use it, you know, later. We don't have to use it this second, but you know, just finding ways to support these people who are really struggling, and also people who at this time of the year in the spring and summer months count on these months as making their full year salary because these are very successful times. David is saying that we can decorate. We can do that as well.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, trying to be able to find something to do in the moments where you feel helpless in a situation like this is also really important, because you see all these, you know, you watch the news and it can make you feel scared, and how can I do anything? How can I help? What are little things that I can be doing for my community, my neighborhood? And I really want to try to support, you know, we live in LA, so I want to make sure that we find local businesses to support here, but it's a scary time for all local businesses. So to be able to be in open communication about, you know, here are 10 places that are in this area that we can support and we can, you know, help, is a really great conversation to have. And those end up, they might be small, but they help people in the long run a lot.
Well, I always think of, there's a great Margaret Mead quote that says, never doubt that a small group of people can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has changed the world. And I think that's a really important thing to remember at this moment. Nothing is small. And we think of like, oh, I'm not the governor, I can't do this, or I'm not the president, I can't do that. But each of us can do something for our fellow man or woman. As I said, we can pick up the phone, we can do a FaceTime, we can drop some food, we can drop some flowers, we can buy a gift card, and then to whom much has been given, more is expected, and so on and so on. I think this also points out the importance of who you represent, you know, who you vote for at the local level. We see at this time the importance of governors, of mayors, of local Congress people. I think it's a really important time for people to be active in their communities while also staying home. Staying home is a gift to your community because you're keeping people safe. So sometimes people go like, well, I don't know what good it's doing staying home. Well, you might be saving another person's life that you can't see right now, but you're doing what the elected officials and health officials have told you will save a life. So by you staying where you are and by me staying where I am, we're helping our mayor, our governor, our local elected officials do their job, and we're helping our neighbors. And so I think we should never doubt that each of us is capable of helping somebody else. We should understand that there are many of people around us who are suffering, who need support. And luckily, I think there are also a lot of programs out there to help people. There's therapy programs that are out there. A lot of AA programs have now gone online, Zoom. They're having community meetings online, support groups online. I put out a tweet the other day because I said that people who have dealt with anxiety their whole life can actually lead in this moment because they know what it's like, and got thousands of responses about how to manage anxiety from people who've been managing it their whole lives. And I think we can take a page from AA and Narcotics Anonymous. They all have sponsors, and we can sponsor one other person in our life and check in on them like people in AA do.
I think that it's an important thing to talk about anxiety also, and how we're managing anxiety. I know that it was my New Year's resolution. You've been really big on meditation for many years now. Yeah. I have made it my New Year's resolution, and especially in this time when we're creating routine, I've made I use the Headspace app. Some people use other apps. You know, you just go outside and sit and meditate without an app.
No, I'm a TM practitioner, so I have a mantra.
Yeah, you have a mantra, so you go outside and you do this as your daily routine every day, and you say that it's been hugely, you know, a huge change in your life by doing it. And I also think that this time is because we're also creating these at-home schedules for ourselves, for those of us who are at home. You know, it's a great place to be able to incorporate if it's TM, meditation, whatever that is, so you can feel calm at home, because there's a lot that can make you anxious around you. So having that as being part of your routine. A lot of these, exercise companies have amazing classes online that you can do from your home now. And then the whole idea of being able to have a routine, I think, is helping me, at least in my anxiety, and will help a lot of people in their anxiety, because the thing that I keep hearing from all of my friends when I talk to them is like this underlying theme of constant anxiety now that we're all at home, because most of us are not used to just being confined to our home, and what to do with that anxiety.
So several people are asking, what is Headspace? So
Okay.
Headspace is a meditation app.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're doing some offerings, I think, right now that are free. I'm not sure, I haven't looked at it. But I know there are several, whether it's Headspace or Calm, that are doing some things right now that are free, because I'm conscious that they're also, cost money. So if you have the capability, you can offer somebody the ability to get a Headspace app or program. So Headspace, Calm, there are others. There are also apps for
journaling too. Someone had just wrote journaling, which is also really calming and therapeutic to be able to do to calm your anxiety, because it's a great way to have an activity to do during the day, but also to be able to write. This is also this is the time that if we're writing down what we're feeling and how things are going, and just like the whole situation in general, we'll be able to reflect on this at some point, or our kids will be able to reflect on it, friends down the road, and read about this time, because this is such a unique time.
Right. I think it's, as Andrew Cuomo said, it's a moment to forge your character. Mm-hmm. It's a moment to dig in and find out what you're made of. Gavin Newsom, who's the governor of our state here in California, said that I think we're going to find out how connected we all are, how interdependent we all are, and how resourceful we all are, how we have to dig in and do things maybe that we didn't think we could do. We have to spend time with ourselves. Many people don't like spending time with themselves. So I think getting acquainted with who you are at this moment in your life is something that many people might find challenging. I used to find that challenging. People are saying, please also mention that there is a lot of exercise that's out there that you can do. I think also sometimes those are expensive. So there are some exercise apps that are offering, I think at this moment, free access to some of their exercise classes, or I kind of make up exercises. Dancing is great. Dancing is a great thing. It costs no money at all. Music makes you feel really great. And there's obviously more than ever, things on television to watch. There are brain games to do. I'm always advocating in my work at the Women's Alzheimer's Movement. I talk a lot about challenging your brain to keep your brain healthy. Cooking, obviously, being in conversation. There are all these things. Walking, people were saying social distancing. I walked down the street last night and people on my street were having a cocktail party, socially distanced. Yeah,
so
it was really funny.
Yeah, they're outside with their those lawn chairs, soccer chairs that you used to take to our soccer games, and just
Bible study. People are making Bible study, which of course is free, and that's terrific. And a lot of churches have groups, Bible study groups, neighborhood gatherings. I think one of the things that's inspired me so much, Catherine, is that we have been inundated the last several years with stories about how divided we are as a nation, how much we all hate each other, how angry we all are. And the news in the last 2 weeks is about how much people are stepping up to save other people's lives. People are risking their own lives to save the lives of people they don't even know. People are stepping forward to help their neighbors that they never even met. So I've always believed that we were much more united than the press let us believe we were. And I think we are seeing that now more than ever, that we can come together, that we are much more connected than we realize. And that there is a work that each of us can do, as I always say, to move humanity forward. Never doubt that what your role here, never doubt that you are here for a specific reason, never doubt that you have a divine purpose, and never doubt that you can change another person's life. I've had my own life changed by another person, and I know it's possible. So pick up the phone, ask someone how they're really doing, and then stop, pause, and listen.
I think I was talking also to a friend this week, and there are a lot of things, for example, cooking for me in particular, that I have done a couple times since being in quarantine, which I'm very vocal about not being a great cook at this point in my life. And that was also one of my New Year's resolutions. But I think that there are a lot of different things that we're going to be doing in this quarantine time that we normally would never have done or had the time to do per se. But I think it's also interesting to think about what of those, routines that we add to our lives, or habits that we add, or learnings that we learn in this time, what we're going to continue to bring into our lives or keep in our lives when everything goes back to normal and our life picks up again. Because while this time is really challenging, finding the silver lining in it and seeing, how we can reignite a relationship, or talk to an old friend, or fix an old relationship, or, learn how to cook, learn how to bake, work out from home instead of go somewhere else, do things as a family. A lot of people, aren't as close with their family as maybe our family is. And so having these times to connect with their family, if their family's spread out everywhere, maybe it's like a weekly phone call or something. And my friend asked me the other day, like, what of those things that you're starting to do you want to bring into your life after quarantine ends? Which I thought was a really interesting question, because we're in the thick of this right now. So we kind of wonder when that's going to happen. But one of the things that I definitely want to continue and bring into my life, even when the craziness of life resumes and we're not all stuck at home, is definitely making sure that there's time to check in on friends and even my cousins. Like I have so many cousins in my family, and in this time I've been able to FaceTime with so many of them that I have not been able to talk to in a really long time, which I think is such a great thing. And also cooking. I'm learning to cook in this time, which is something that I've wanted to do for a really long time, but have not given myself the time to do. And so I think it's great to be able to think about these things when we're in this time, like what it is that we're going to bring into our life when life goes back to normal.
Yeah, several people here were saying that Sydney Weiner said she's learning how to play the piano. Many people have said here that they're journaling for the first time. Baking for the first time, reconnecting, exercising. So I hear Rob DeFisher learning how to cook, Karen Baumgarten learning how to cook, a lot of people learning how to cook, your brother learning how to make his own cold brew, because every day he had to go to the coffee shop to get coffee. Now he's learning how to make his own cold brew. Here's Caitlin, New York City line, doing scrapbooking.
Yes, that's another.
Playing the puzzle, Story Media, puzzle at night. Somebody else saying, oh, he's become a barista. Yeah, so I love all these comments from the arey community, which is sharing what they're learning, knitting, style. Sasha, I can't sometimes, writing poetry. Kathleen, I'm doing that too. I write a lot of poetry. Mike, reconnecting with animals. Katie, crazy, working out. I've tried chicken. I'm learning how to cook, crocheting. So I think you can see the community here is doing a lot of things, spending time with their kids. I've spoken to a lot of people my age, Catherine, who are reconnecting with their kids, reconnecting with adult kids that they had not really connected with. Having a new appreciation of teachers when they try to teach their kids. So I think that this has been eye-opening for so many people. I think it's eye-opening for people to understand how many of their neighbors live paycheck to paycheck. There's somebody said fostering animals, spring cleaning, cleaning their drawers. I think a lot of people are finding out they have too much stuff, and that they can donate much of what they have to those who don't have as much. So I think that vision boards, there's so much going on, but I think what we're also being very conscious of is that our neighbors, many of our neighbors are struggling. We're becoming conscious of the role of medical professionals in our life, conscious of the role of teachers in our life, conscious of the role of parents in our life, conscious of the elderly. So there is a lot that is coming out of this, conscious of the importance of saving money as we go through life. So I think there will be, however we come out of this, everybody will come out of it a bit different than when they came in. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm writing about that in my Sunday paper this week.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely, I think we all in the beginning like freaked out about how much this is going to affect all of us, but then also looking at the silver linings here about, you know, I know that, you know, going through your stuff, a lot of people have written on here saying that they're using this time to organize, go through their things. I think it's a great, I was talking to you and also to my sister, Christina, about just like how much like product hoarding goes on with a lot of women. So being able to go through products, clothing, donate them when we're done with this in obviously a clean and sanitary way, to be able to just realize again how much stuff we have, how unnecessary a lot of it is, being able to, you know, shed a lot of that. There are also a lot of people on here who are saying that they're at home with their kids for the first time, having to be teachers. I have a lot of friends who are at home, you know, in quarantine with little kids, and that's a very exhausting thing that, you know, they're now in charge of doing online schooling with their kids for the first time. Most of them have jobs also. So I think that when you're talking about having a new appreciation for teachers, that's 100% a huge thing that will, I mean, I think most of us have always appreciated teachers, but also just how much time and patience and energy they have that goes into having, you know, especially younger kids around them all the time. I was talking to Dawn, who used to be be around our family growing up, and she has 5 kids at home right now that she's homeschooling, and she's a nurse. So she's homeschooling all 5 of her kids that are all in different age groups and learning something different. So I think it's a big shout out to parents who are at home right now with little kids and are moving to doing all online schooling, and of course medical staff, because they're, you know, risking their lives every single day to help people who are dealing with this terrible virus. And I think it's going to give a lot of us a totally new and different appreciation for a lot of different professions, but especially those ones, because I think I've been checking on a couple of my friends who have kids who are at home with all of them, and they're definitely, I think a lot of them struggling with how to balance their jobs and balance having little kids at home that they also need to entertain and deal with. But there are a lot of amazing apps that are free that you can download to entertain your kids and also educate your kids to keep them up to speed on all of that. So I like looking at the silver linings. You're always so good at that, Mother.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I know people have busy days ahead out there, and I want to thank you for having me on here. And I just want to say once again, never doubt that whatever you do today will have an impact on somebody else. We can all have a positive impact on another human being every single day. And so if we try to just touch one other person today, that will be a beautiful use of our time, because we all have this incredible light within us. We're all here for a specific reason. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, this is helping people realize why they're here. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay.
You have the asthma.
Okay.
Allergies. Everyone's dealing with allergies and is so nervous about. I was talking to Christina yesterday, and she's like, "I'm fine. I'm fine." I'm like, "I know you have allergies. It's fine." Okay. Well, thank you, Mom. I love you. I can't wait to go on a social distancing walk soon.
Okay, and thank you, Arey, for all the great work you're doing, putting out body positivity, not retouching photos, putting young women like Catherine and so many other young women out there to be positive role models. You're blessed in this generation to have so many role models who are speaking openly and honestly about the journey of life. And I often say to these young women who say to me, well, I need to have a role model. I say often it's the person that's in your house. So if you're a young woman out there today and you're living at home with your mom, look at her maybe with new eyes today.
I look at you with new eyes every day, Mom. I love you.
I love you. You're an inspiration to me too. God bless you.
I
I
love
don't know how to
you.
get off of this thing, but
I'll do it for you.
okay.
Okay, I love you.
Bye.
Bye.